Hey guys, it's Zeke the Geek, and I'm back again today on Pokemon Showdown, where I'm going to be reviewing a team, and I'm joined here today by someone who helped me make this team. We made it together, and why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Chris?
What's up, guys? It's Isuka Pokemon here, and like the Geek said here, we are going to be reviewing this team. It's performed pretty well for me and him, so why don't we just get right into this?
Alrighty, and yeah, he did use this team in my last Pokemon Showdown Live gameplay stuff that I had 2 days ago, I believe, and so definitely go check that out. He used it pretty well. I beat him, but yeah, that's besides the point. It was a speed tie. Anyways, so we're gonna get right into this. Basically, this is a Mega Venusaur is what this team originally was built around, because he said he wanted to use a Mega Venusaur, and I love Mega Venusaur, so it was quite easy to do this. Now, if you've seen my other team review, you will recognize this because it's the same Venusaur. This Venusaur works really well, and there's not much to say about it. It can live Life Orb, Talonflame, Brave Birds, not a Choice Banded, but you should be okay because those don't really run around anymore. You can live Metagross, Zen Headbutt, Mega Metagross, Zen Headbutt, which is very important because obviously Venusaur can't beat a Metagross by itself, but whatever's next to it will be able to pick up a kill without Venusaur dying. And this set, Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, Leech Set, Protect, it's pretty much the standard for a Mega Venusaur. And if you want to say anything about this Venusaur, go ahead, Chris.
I don't really have much to say about it other than it's amazing. It can one-shot, like, a lot with Sludge Bomb. I was just too lazy to run the calcs, but, yeah, I know it can one-shot Talonflame with it if it's not, like, full utility, and it's just overall amazing.
Yep, and it's great coverage. The typing is just great. Grass is really hardcore to get, as you can see here with Venusaur, rotom-wash, Heatran. It's pretty much a fire, water, grass core. It doesn't have too many weaknesses because of its thick fat ability. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, this team is pretty much built around the fact that it doesn't have too many weaknesses. None of these Pokemon, I'm pretty sure none of these Pokemon have more than 2 weaknesses, save Terrakion. Heatran too, but Terrakion and Heatran are more of like the glass cannons of the team. They're not meant to take a super effective hit. They're supposed to just go in there and hit hard, while the rest are just bulky.
Right.
Yeah, anything
And
else?
usually you're having them on the field with somebody who can support that, like Clefable
Yeah.
or something.
And we'll get to Clefable in a sec, but I guess we can move on here to Rotom-wash, which is also a pretty standard set, but it's more the EV spread that's very awesome, because obviously this team has a lot of unique sort of EV spreads because they're bulky and they need to be to live certain things. Now, this is an EV spread I found on some random forum, and I don't really remember the calcs to it, but it allows it to be not OHKO'd by pretty much anything, and also having grass as its only weakness, it'll almost never be hit by a super effective attack. And also, this special defense, it can live a Charizard Y Solar Beam, so that's basically all the calc you need to know, and then the rest is just so that it can return tons of damage with Thunderbolt and Hydro Pump with that 76 special attack. And most of the time you'll be spreading Will-O-Wisp anyways, and also Citrus Berry after you take maybe 2 hits, which you can definitely live if they're neutral. Citrus Berry gets you up again, and then they have to hit you again twice more. So just Rotom-wash, great bulk. Next to Venusaur, these two take forever to knock down. Yeah, this is great.
And actually, I have something to say about Rotom-wash. He can actually live 3 returns from... Oh, no, he gets knocked out after 3 returns from a Mega Kangaskhan. And, like, that's big because that allows you to get a Willow off even if you miss the first time. And once that's done, you basically won the game because then you can just sweep with everything else.
Yeah, and also, something that I noticed is if you don't want to run Will-O-Wisp, because Kangaskhan's not really a problem to this team, because Heatran can resist the normal type moves, and I don't know how well it can take it, but Terrakion anyways, just if Terrakion's in, it outspeeds, it close combats, it one-shots the Kangaskhan. So if you don't want to run Will-O-Wisp, I was thinking about running Thunder Wave. Now, I know you, Chris, are running Thunder Wave on the Clefable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to do that because I like the moveset I have for Clefable. But definitely Thunder Wave is an option. I'm actually going to go ahead and change that right now just to try it out a bit. Although, of course, Will-O-Wisp is great, but Thunder Wave misses less, so that's always useful. And
Right.
yeah, so that's pretty much rotom-wash. We can move on to Heatran here. Now, my Heatran, I'm testing something out with the Chople right now, but it's a very standard set for 252, 252, and also I don't know whether I want to run Modest or Timid. What are you running, Chris?
I'm running the Modest just because of Life Orb, and usually you're not going to be switching it into much, so you basically switch it in when a Pokemon dies, and it's more of a revenge killer, in my opinion, and then you sweep. Because you're never going to have Heatran on the field alone with something that you don't really want. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but that's basically the best explanation I can do.
Okay, well, the reason why I have Chople here is because Terrakion is something that's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Prevalent in VGC 2015, and I see it all over Battlespot, and I haven't been to any regionals or anything, but Chris, you said you went to Florida?
Yeah, I went to Florida regionals, and I swear, it was pure luck. It was pure luck.
Alright, anyways.
That's all I'm going to say.
And so, how many Terrakions did you see there? Because I feel like I see it on a lot of teams.
I would say, well, every Mega Kang team that I ran into had a Terrakion. I will say that. And then a lot of the other ones that were just like random strewn up teams had Terrakion because it's just so good.
Yeah, so Terrakion is definitely a huge threat in VGC 2015. It's everywhere. I mean, it's even on our team. I mean, come on. It's great at rock fighting. It's fast as anything, and it can one-shot anything with the close combat practically. But anyways, so I put the Chople as a test, but definitely I can always go back and put a Life Orb, because Life Orb Modest can actually take things out. And now that I think about it, the Chople is kind of useless in the fact that even if the Terrakion gets the close combat on you and you live it, and then you Earth Power it, you can't OHKO it unless you're 252 plus Life Orb Earth Power. That, because I just did that calc before this video, and basically without the Life Orb I'm not going to be able to even take out the Terrakion, so that's why maybe Life Orb is better, but I don't know, I'll test both. For now I actually suggest the Life Orb, Heat Wave, Earth Power, Substitute, Protect, and then these stats you see for 252 plus and 252. But now obviously Substitute is something that not everyone runs on Heatran, but I think the top players are starting to run it more than anything else, because really Substitute, if you don't have a threat against you and you know they're not going to target you or they're going to predict you to Protect, getting a Substitute off with Heatran's great, because if you got that Life Orb 252 plus, you can just sweep things, and behind Substitute, Heatran's dangerous.
Right. I mean, you can just Heat Wave and Earth Power until you can't Heat Wave Earth Power no more, and they've still got to take out the sub. And it may not be the best typing. I mean, Fire Steel, it can get like super effective damage by a lot of things, but it's still, once it gets behind a Substitute, if you have something on the field that can distract them, you can just sweep everything.
Yeah, and speaking of distraction, that moves us to the next Pokemon here, Clefable, who I love this Clefable set, because this Clefable is on a Mega Salamence team I have that I haven't reviewed, maybe in the future, but this is the same Clefable that I think works so well with a Mega Salamence that I found out that it works well on any team. We almost put Sylveon in this team, but Chris over there was like, no, let's use Clefable because I've never used one before. And I said, okay, I have a pretty good set here. And now, of course, it's also got a very unique EV spread, not a standard 252 set, because this is a bulky support Pokemon, as you can see here with its moveset Helping Hand, Follow Me, Ice Beam, Moonblast. Now I'm going to first go into the moves. Actually, let's go straight to the item because it's pretty simple. Basically, Babiri Berry, if you don't know what it does, is halves damage from super effective steel type moves. It allows you to live longer and not have to worry about being one-shotted, because this thing doesn't want to get one-shot. It wants to sit out in the field and just soak up damage and Helping Hand and yeah, all that good stuff. And
I'll go more into the Babiri Berry once we're done with the EVs, because there's a few things that it helps out with a lot.
Alright, so I'll just quickly go over the EVs here. 252 HP, right? It's supposed to be bulky, so you're going as much. Actually, now that I think about it, 252 means it's an odd. So you might want to go with 248. I just noticed that. Did you just see that? because you want an odd number HP, right?
Right.
I want to see if I can put this anywhere else. I don't think I can, though. That's a problem. Hold up. If not, I'll just, I guess... Well, no, you don't really want that 250... whatever. Screw it. I'm putting 252. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to quickly go into this ability, though, because you can obviously run Magic Guard, because you don't want this Clefable being statused and then slowly whittled down. But I don't think that's really a big problem, because a lot of people will predict you to just have a Magic Guard, and they won't even feel like burning it or something, or whatever it is that... Because they'll think you have Magic Guard, and they won't think it's worth the risk of hitting it with a effect that can whittle it down. So that's why I went ahead and got Unaware, because they'll think you have Magic Guard, and even if they don't, it doesn't really matter, because I don't think that it matters that much. But the Unaware really helps to defeat things that think they can set up, whether it's a Mega Salamence, right? It uses Dragon Dance, and it thinks it can just hit you with a super powerful return, because Salamence, D-Dance, Double Edge, or whatever, that's really powerful. But with Unaware, you don't have to worry about that. You can soak up more hits this way. And also, like Azumarils, they try belly drumming. That's useless, and it just allows it to soak up more damage, and that's the whole point of this thing.
Right, and speaking of soaking up damage, it really can, because I ran a few calcs, and this thing actually can live a +1 Iron Head from the Sharp, because, I mean...
Well, obviously it's Unaware, so that +1 doesn't matter.
Right, but still, it's gonna be able to live that, and then you can, like, set up a Thunder Wave on it, and then who's really gonna want a Thunder Wave on a Sharp if they know that, like, a Sucker Punch isn't gonna kill something? It's basically gonna be useless.
Yeah, and see, I don't run Thunder Wave, because, wait, what did you get rid of to get Thunder Wave?
I got rid of Helping Hand because I wasn't really using it as much as I thought I was gonna be.
Yeah, see, I think Helping Hand is something you just have to get used to using. I found that it's very useful, because Clefable's slow, as you can see. It's got 81 speed, right, base 60, and then all the stats makes it an 81 speed, and it's not that good, so it moves, like, last almost always, but... Helping Hand is useful if you've used Follow Me, like, tons of times, you've soaked up damage, you've done tons of stuff, like maybe you've got a Heat Ren next to you just using Heat Wave, and then you know your Clefable's going to go down this turn, and you know you're going to be targeted, and Follow Me is kind of useless. Now, maybe you will use Follow Me because you still need to redirect from Heat Ren, but sometimes it's best just to Helping Hand and let that Heat Ren pick up a KO that maybe it couldn't have, and then just go down, because Helping Hand and Follow Me will obviously have priority, so it'll allow you to do this before you die. Maybe you can't get an attack off, so Helping Hand is always great that way. It allows Clefable to kind of, it's not doing the damage, obviously whatever's next to it's doing the damage, but its support allows something that's fast, get that boost of damage, and hit it quickly, and maybe even Clefable will end up surviving because of that, who knows.
Huh.
And obviously Ice Beam, a lot of people don't really run Ice Beam on Clefable when I was looking around on forums and stuff, but I did read one person who did it, and it's a very good option because it does OHKO a Landorus T unless it's a bulky variant, but in that case, I'm not scared of bulky variants. I'm more scared of the Choice Scarf ones because those are always scary. But Clefable can eat up any hit from a Landorus T, and then you just Ice Beam it and it goes down, and yeah.
Right.
Now, I haven't been... because I don't really use this too offensively, so I don't really use Ice Beam and Moonblast that often, but have you noticed how much damage Moonblast has been doing on super effective targets? Because that's obviously when you're going to use it.
Right, it has been putting in the work, and the same thing with Ice Beam. It can, if they're not, like, invested in defense, or special defense, sorry, then it's going to one-shot, like a Landorus T and Garchomp, because Garchomp is frail. But, it will one-shot a Landorus T, and that's a big threat to a few members of this team, especially Terrakion and Heatran.
Yep, and so, yeah, that's just great. I haven't really done calcs on this because I got this off of a forum, this spread, but I read, I think, a few calcs on there, and it just lives a lot of stuff, and it's not really meant, it's obviously not going to get OHKO'd by anything, but it takes forever to kill this thing, and even with super effective attacks. And I think Poison's something you don't have to worry about, because you have Heatran, who is immune, Scizor, who's immune, Venusaur, who not resists, wait, Venusaur doesn't resist, no he doesn't, my bad. But yeah, you have Heatran and Scizor, who both are immune, so if you are seeing a Poison-type move coming to Clefable, you can always switch in, and then the Steel-type move, you've got the Babiri Berry, you can live one, don't worry. And now let's go on to Terrakion here. Terrakion is a Pokemon that we said is a huge threat in VGC 2015. I genuinely think Terrakion is probably one of the best Pokemon out there. It counters Kangaskhan, which is obviously the biggest threat when it comes to a Mega. Even though I hate using it, because I'm just not a fan.
It's cheap.
Yeah, I mean, everyone uses it. Any tournament you go to, Battle Spot, it's the most used Pokemon. But Terrakion is a great counter. I mean, look at the speed. 252 Jolly. It's outspeeds so much in the meta. It almost always goes first. And it has such a diverse move pool. Now, obviously, you're probably going to run Close Combat, Rock Slide, and Protect, because Protect is great in VGC. But you can run so many different things on that last spot. Like, what are you running?
I used to run Earthquake, but it just kept on being more of like a temptation, like, oh yeah, let's go for an Earthquake, that's gonna do big damage, and it really doesn't, so I'm actually trying out the Iron Head, and it proves to be useful against things like Clefable.
Yeah, so I've also run Iron Head, and also Terrakion's gonna outspeed fairy types like Sylveon, let's say, and I don't know whether Terrakion Iron Head can kill a fully 252 HP Sylveon, because that's what they tend to run, right? 252 HP, 252 plus special attack. So I don't know if it can kill, but actually it probably can, because Terrakion's attack is really high, and it doesn't even have to be adamant to be so destructive. And honestly, it's just, I'm pretty sure an Iron Head actually can kill a Sylveon. Do you want to go ahead and calc that for me?
Yeah, I'll calc that really quick.
And so while he's doing that, I'm also going to say I have Focus Sash on this, and I think that's a great item. No one on our team had Focus Sash yet, and so I think Terrakion Focus Sash is amazing, because not only can you beat other Terrakions that aren't Focus Sashed, obviously, but, and a lot of Terrakions I see aren't Focus Sashed, because they have something else on their team that needs to be Focus Sashed, and if it is, well, you just dropped it down to its sash, and even can live, and then maybe Protect, and whatever's next to you can attack the next turn, so it's just great. Focus Sash is wonderful. I think it's the best item for Terrakion, because his defenses aren't that bad, but when he's hit with a super effective move, he's not going to live it, and the main emphasis is on attack and speed. He's just fast, not really Glass Cannon, because he can live neutral hits, but he's just deadly. Deadly, I say. But,
it is true, if they are running the standard 252 HP, 252 special attack, and if they happen to be running 4 defense, it will be a guaranteed one-hit KO every time.
Yep, so, and you're gonna outspeed because Sylveons are slow, so don't worry, your Terrakion doesn't have to worry about Sylveons anymore. So this Terrakion is just great. I mean, it works well by itself, and next to such a defensive team, they may be like, oh, it's a defensive team, I don't have to worry about it, let me just KO this Terrakion and he doesn't have anything to hit me back with. Well, that's wrong, because all these Pokemon still hit hard on their own, and if you ever need that, you know, you got the Clefable Helping Hand, which I love. So yeah, that's Terrakion. He's pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen Terrakion in action. He counters a lot. Rock Slide and Close Combat are great coverage just all around. And now Iron Head as well.
And Focus Sash for other Terrakions. You will be guaranteed a move. And if they're running the same set as us, and it just comes down to speed tie. So if you want to take a gamble, go ahead.
But without the Focus Sash, you wouldn't even have that chance. So obviously it's best. So we're going to move on to Scizor, who is the last Pokemon we chose here. And the reason why we chose this was, it was kind of a dilemma, because there's a lot we can actually run here. I even thought about running Gengar, by the way. I haven't even told you this. But we chose Scizor because he's only, again, he fits in with this team because they don't have too many weaknesses and they're defensive and stuff. And Scizor, while he does put on offensive pressure, he he can eat up hits quite well. He is fairly defensive, and not only that, but he only has one weakness, being fire. Now, maybe you could run that berry that drops fire damage, super effective damage, right? Just like I have on Clefable, but the fire variant, I don't know what it's called, but I don't think it's worth it. If you're gonna get hit by a fire type move, it's so obvious, you know it's coming, because the Pokemon that use fire type moves, you just see it from a mile away, so you can go ahead and protect, you can go ahead and switch out, you're gonna see it coming, and it's gonna kill you, so just accept it like a man, and go ahead and run either a Life Orb or Lumberry. Lumberry is what we originally had on it. Do you still have Lumberry?
Actually, that's still what I'm running. It's been working out really well for me because I'm actually encountering Sableye a lot more than I expected. I mean, it is a good Pokemon, but still, it's Sableye. It's not usually in VGC. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I went and put the Life Orb on it just because I took it off of Heatran, but if I get Heatran Life Orb again, then I have a few different options here for Scizor. I can either run the Expert Belt, which actually an Expert Belt 252 Adamant Bullet Punch from a Scizor can kill out that standard Sylveon set we said before, but anything less than an Expert Belt, which Expert Belt does 1.2 times for super effective, Life Orb is 1.3 times, so obviously Life Orb is just like a better Expert Belt for everything really. But that 1.2 times on Expert Belt can kind of switch for Life Orb if you have Life Orb on Heatran, for example. But also that Lumberry is great because on a Lumberry set you can run Swords Dance. I here have Bullet Punch, Bug Bite, Knock Off, Protect. Instead of Knock Off you can have Super Power, but we have Terrakion so we don't really need that. You can have Feint to break the Protects, but I chose Knock Off because it's more offensive. And
yeah.
Like, what was that? What did I just say you could run on here? Swords Dance. Yeah, if you're running the Lum set, I really suggest Swords Dance because a lot of the time they'll predict you to protect or something, or you can easily eat up a hit, let's say. And so you can go ahead and Swords Dance, and the Swords Dance Bullet Punch, even without your Life Orb, if you're running that Lum, there's no way they can stop you because they can't Will-O-Wisp you anymore, right? You've got that Lum, and Bullet Punch is really powerful, so with Swords Dance up especially, and its priority, it's just very good, very good.
Right.
Now, the EV spread is something I want to go into because Scizor is a really slow Pokemon. As you can see, I haven't invested in speed, and he is slow.
Yeah, that's basically all there is to say.
But because this team is very defensive, I feel like it's okay if I go ahead and make him slow. Now, like I said before, or Chris said, I didn't even say this, but this team lacks speed control, and I said that in my battle when I was going against Chris. With my other team, I went ahead, set up a Tailwind, and there wasn't much he could do. I outsped everything at that point because it doesn't have speed control. That's why I highly suggest running Thunder Wave on either Rotom-Wash or Clefable, whichever one you prefer giving up a move for. I'm going to try Rotom-Wash because I don't really mind losing Will-O-Wisp. But basically, this team doesn't have great speed control. Now, Bullet Punch, obviously, priority, which is great. But because of the lack of speed control, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but alright, so Scizor's supposed to be defensive. I went ahead and got an HP, and his defense, as you can see, 120, special defense 100. It's pretty solid, right?
Right, it is pretty solid. I mean, it can live a lot of things that usually it wouldn't be able to. I mean, it's not going to be living a fire-type move anytime soon unless it's, like, freaking, from something in the rain. But, who runs rain in doubles anyways when they're running a fire-type move? But, it can live a Brave Bird from, Life Orbed, Talonflame, but so can a lot of stuff on this team because it is mainly bulky offensive. So, yeah.
And you don't really have to worry about speed because a lot of the time you're going to be just spamming that Bullet Punch and stuff. And occasionally, yes, you want to go for... Well, Feint has priority, right?
Yes, I believe it does.
Yeah, so if you are running Feint, then you definitely don't have to run into speed because Feint has priority then and you're just breaking Protects. And also, I have Bug Bite. Now, the only problem with Bug Bite is with being so slow, you can't necessarily always get the Bug Bite off that you want to. Maybe you're against a Hydreigon, for example. There's no way you're going to get that Bug Bite off without being hit by maybe a Fire Blast or Flamethrower. Now, you just have to hope and scout out to see if they have that Flamethrower or Fire Blast, because not all Hydreigons run it. So that's why Protect is great. Protect is on everything on this team except for the Clefable, which really doesn't need it. But, yeah. Protect is great. So if you ever need a scout, this entire team has protect. You can always protect up and just play mind games really with this team. Defend, mind games, offensive. It's got really everything kind of mixed up in a nice balance. Nice balance.
Yeah. But why don't we hop into a battle with this team just to test it out?
All right, I'll let you go ahead and battle with this team because I don't really feel like battling right
now. Okay, let's... Oh, yes, my connection. Connection? Plus connection, base guide connection. Thank you. Okay, load up, please. Showdown. Don't do this. Okay, stuff is loading.
Oh,
Everything is
says you got into a battle.
Everything is still invisible for me.
Oh yeah, it's April Fool's Day, so everything looks all weird.
Let's take a look at the sprites. It's best sprites ever, 7th gen sprites confirmed plus nerf. And I'm sorry, my internet is lagging, like really bad. It says my name is Backflip. My name's not Backflip. Boy, I really need to upgrade my internet. Like, holy crap.
Now, looking at this team, obviously, now we can look at some threats. Now, I'm guessing that Suicune might be a... That's really weird seeing Suicune there. Because right away when I see Suicune, right, it's like bulky, Scald, Ice Beam, Tailwind, Protect tends to be maybe Snarl or something, but...
Yeah, Snarl's pretty common on it.
Instead of Protect sometimes because it is so bulky, but I don't know if this team necessarily wants Tailwind. Because Amoonguss and Aegislash are so slow.
That's not really worth it.
Yeah, and maybe because he's got more bulky variants of that Lando T, Kangaskhan, Arcanine, but Lando T tends to be Scarfed, so maybe it's a banded one and he wants it to be under Tailwind. Kangaskhan obviously can always take up Tailwind, so that Suicune, if it gets up a Tailwind's always a problem.
Plus internet, base god internet, and did I just leave the game? I just got like a connection error.
You disconnected.
Oh boy. Well, this is a look into my internet and how I have to upload videos.
Well, you know, I think that's be okay because I think I'm gonna have a showcase for this team another time because this video is running a bit long. So I'm just gonna quickly go over this team as a whole because we went over the individual Pokemon, but like I said, it's a very defensive team, and the whole point is just to eat up hits and return decent damage, even with the defensive Pokemon. Like, even Clefable itself can hit back, and it has the lowest investment of all the Pokemon here. Now, you gotta be careful with this team, but I think if you're a good player, this team can be insanely good. Now, of course, if you're a bad player, it can be insanely bad. Now, you might say, well, that's with every team. What the heck are you talking about? But the reason why I'm saying that is because just the fact that you can predict what they're doing and protect and whatnot and stuff. Now you might say, oh, that's on every team, dude. Where are you going with this? But it's not only that. It's that there's so many mixes and matches that you can do with this team. When it comes to items, let's say, I mean, the Heatran is, you can run different items. The Scizor, you can run different items and move sets. The Clefable, I like this set, but there's other ways you can run it, sort of, I mean, with keeping the same thing. And obviously, when it comes to speed control, like rotom-wash, you can run Thunder Wave or Will-O-Wisp. And it's just, it's got so much different stuff it can do, so if you want to change it any way you want, you can. I mean, without changing, like, the entire team or any Pokemon specifically, it still can keep its defensive structure of having very few weaknesses and being very hard to go against. I mean, when I was going against Euchris, and I was using my other Venusaur team, I found the problem that was I don't really have much way to just consistently hit this team with super effective damage. Now, of course, Heatran, Terrakion both have a fighting weakness, but like other than that, there's a steel weakness between Terrakion and Clefable, but Clefable with Babiri Berry, Terrakion and Heatran being offensive, and they can just play mind games because you don't know whether they're going to protect or not and stuff. I mean, it's a great team all around. I like it.
Right, and there's not... it's so versatile that you can, like, basically counter anything that your opponent's gonna bring. And it's so versatile. You can change a few of the moves. Like, I'm still changing the moves because I can't find something that wants to work like the best because there really isn't anything. It's just always got that momentum that a lot of teams don't have with like the Mega Kang and stuff.
And also, it's not super reliant. It's not in a way. I'm trying to word this the best way. Basically, you're not going to bring the same four every time because a lot of the time there's some teams that you literally you have the team right of 6, and then every single battle you're bringing the same 4 because they're the best, not necessarily because they're best matchups, but just because the rest of the team is, in a way, those 4 synergize, but the other 2 don't synergize, and then you just bring the 4 that synergize. But this team, all 6 of them synergize very well, and they all have their role in support and offensive. And I mean, I said Heatran and Terrakion are both very offensive, but even if you don't bring either of them, you don't lose your offensive pressure. You still have these other 4 very bulky Pokemon. It'd be a longer battle because obviously it'd take your opponent forever to hit you, but you're still going to be doing tons of damage and damage over time from things like Leech Seed and stuff, and it's going to be hard for them to KO you. And maybe you didn't bring that offensive pressure with Heatran and Terrakion because you noticed he had way too many fighting types for some reason, and then you don't lose that much offensive pressure, really. You lose some speed, yes, because Terrakion's main offensive pressure comes in how fast and powerful he is, but the rest, they still, maybe they won't go first, yes, but they will be able to hit back very hard, and they will guarantee you a hit because they're going to be living hits no matter what. Even if it's super effective, these things are just, they're great. And I want to go back onto that point about like Venusaur, right? You have to worry about flying and psychic types, but they won't OHKO you. Rotom-wash, you have to worry about grass types. Grass types are super uncommon. You've got maybe another Mega Venusaur, but honestly, I don't see too many Mega Venusaurs. Yeah, they're getting a bit more popular maybe, but Mega Venusaur maybe can beat Rotom-wash, yes, but then maybe Charizard Y Solar Beam, you can live that, and there's just Rotom-wash only having a grass weakness is great. Its bulk allows it to live things, and that's great. Heatran, of course, has the most weaknesses on this team, so be careful with that, but he's one of the 2 sort of glass cannons, although they're not really glass. They can eat up hits if it's not super effective. Clefable, again, only weak to poison because you have that Babiri Berry allowing you to eat up a first steel hit. Obviously, they can hit you twice, but then they have to hit you twice, and, well, by then you might have already killed what it has. And then you've got Terrakion, who also has lots of weaknesses, but he has the Sash, so he'll live a super effective hit, and they may be like, oh, this team is Terrakion and Heatran both have so many weaknesses, I can take them out, but I'm going to be hitting first, and then I'm going to be living with a Sash, and then I'm going to be hitting again, and I've gotten so much damage, it's worth it. Scizor, only weak to fire. I mean, as you can see, Rotom-wash, Scizor, only 1 weakness, fit perfectly on a lot of teams, honestly. Clefable only having 2 weaknesses. It's just, I'm blabbing on here, but really, they don't have that many weaknesses on this team, or common weaknesses, so it's great.
Yeah, there's not really much more I can say about this team because all that I can find is that it has great synergy. I mean, there are a lot of pairs. I mean, like Venusaur, you can come into a fighter type move from, like, I don't know, give me an example, Heatran, because it's got that thick fat. If you're getting threatened by from it by the Scizor, yeah, and there's the Heatran and Clefable matchup, Follow Me, Justin. It's always got something that's ahead of your opponent.
And just, there's so many ways to lead with this team. It's not like a team where I was tempted to have Gengar on this team, but I was like, no, well, every time I have Gengar on a team, I always lead with it. And this team, you can mix and match how they come out. Clefable can go beside any of these Pokemon. Helping Hand, Follow Me, it can go beside anything, and that's the whole point. Rotom-wash only having the grass weakness. Maybe it wants to go in next to a Venusaur because Venusaur can Sludge Bomb. Maybe next to Heatran because Heatran can Heat Wave. Maybe next to Terrakion because Terrakion just hits so freaking hard. Now, of course, if they have a grass type against those 2, that's not really pretty. Clefable, Rotom-wash is not that offensive, so I wouldn't always recommend that, but it could always work because Helping Hand plus Hydro Pump or T-Bolt can actually still hit hard even though they're expecting more bulky Pokemon, and even just Scizor and You can run so many different ways and mix and match, and yeah,
It's just wonderful.
it's great. Although Terrakion and Heatran do have lots of common weaknesses and are very weak to their super effective attacks, but you'll see it coming and just plan accordingly. It's not that hard. Well, do you have anything else to say?
Not really. Feel free to try out this team. That's why we're posting this review, and leave suggestions if you think you got a better idea for something. Leave that in the comments, and yeah, I guess you can take the outro.
Alright everybody, so if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, because I will be posting daily, every day, and I will be posting more reviews like this, although I kind of ranted a lot on this one about completely random stuff, but there's so much to go over with this team, sorry about that, but I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.